You are going to be with your specific person for Valentine's Day, and I'm going to make that so. So, for the next 14 days, I'm going to call it the 14 days of love leading up to Valentine's Day, where we're going to make what might feel impossible into your reality, and you are going to live and have the most abundant, amazing Valentine's Day with you and your specific person. And it's going to feel so surreal, so unreal. And we have so much to unpack and go through in these 14 days. So make sure if you are not already subscribed, you are subscribing so you can stick with us every single day. And then if you are a member, remember, I'm going to be giving all the members affirmations, journaling prompts, visualizations, and meditations each and every day. And so the first idea we always need to remember is that your imagination is going to be the creative power in your reality, okay? And no circumstances matter. And we'll dive deeper into that. But it doesn't matter what has happened with you and your specific person in the past. It doesn't matter if there was a third party. It doesn't matter if you're long distance. None of that truly matters when it comes to your manifestation. Because I'm going to give you guys a Neville Goddard quote to kind of get us started. And so remember, you are at this very moment drawing into your world that which you are now conscious of being. So the consciousness is always creating. And so you don't need to take any action. You don't need to do anything grandeur or crazy by assuming as if you already have your specific person, you're going to see that reality begin to take place. But remember that if you don't have the belief that you can be with your specific person for Valentine's Day, then it's going to be very difficult to get ourselves into that state. Okay? Because whatever you believe is your reality. And by not believing that you can be with your specific person, you have essentially cut off the reality. So, what I want you to do down below, I want you to write, I am going to be with my specific person for Valentine's Day. Okay, write that down below. And this is going to be the first intentional shift into understanding and knowing that you can have your specific person. Literally, I know 2 weeks seems like it's too short, but you can do it. You can technically have them tomorrow. And it all begins with faith. And to really demonstrate or showcase this idea of faith, I want to give you the story about the mustard seed in the Bible. And this story is something that Neville Goddard would talk about a lot. And it's perfect for the representation of how this is going to go, because we can be two individuals in this. One that has the full faith, and two, someone who does not have the faith. And that's going to be a true deciding factor in your success. So keep this in mind as we begin to dive into this. And I'll tell you the story. So first off, I want to give you the quote from the Bible. And remember, we're going off of the concept of Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy, where the Bible is a metaphor for your reality. So this is totally law of assumption stuff. So the quote is, truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will be moved. Nothing will be impossible for you. So that is all we need. All we need is the faith of a mustard seed. And the reason that they use this as an example is because when you plant a mustard seed, it has the faith in itself, or when we plant it, the faith that it becomes into a mustard plant, right? And we don't doubt it. And so that's the level of commitment and conviction we need for our manifestation. Because when you have that faith, when you know for a fact you've planted the seed, there's nothing extra that you need to do, then you're going to see your reality bring that about. But thinking of this quote, I want you guys to think about how, when this was said, a woman listening stated who kind of had some doubts. So this is the full story of it. This woman was listening and had some doubts. And after hearing this, she said, well, I'm going to move that mountain. And she pointed to a mountain off into the distance and said, I'm going to go to sleep with this faith. And when I wake up, that mountain is no longer going to be there. So she went back to her home, looked out her window, and basically pointed to that mountain and said everything that I just mentioned, and went to sleep. And so this is a metaphor for us if you're not totally getting this yet. Went to sleep, woke up, ran to the window, okay, to see this mountain that has completely moved. And when she got there, she said to herself, she saw the mountain still standing just as it is, could not see anything behind it, was exactly as it was the night before. Claimed to herself and out loud, I knew that mountain wouldn't move. Okay? And so, thus, giving the reason and the cycle of why it in fact did not move. If you want to wish and hope and pray that your specific person is going to show up for Valentine's Day, that's not the knowing, right? If you end up on Valentine's Day and say, I knew that they weren't going to show up for Valentine's Day, that's exactly what we are attempting to pull away from. Because it doesn't matter what has happened in the past. It doesn't matter what kind of circumstances or worries that you have. By assuming the state and knowing that you can have what you want, you are going to see that outcome occur. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. So when we have this concept of, I knew that mountain wouldn't move, or I knew my specific person wouldn't show up, that's the exact reason of why we don't see it. So I just wanted to bring this into our mind as we begin this journey, because it's so important to creating the change. And again, I'm with you on this. We are making sure you are getting to your specific person for Valentine's Day. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if you want to, again, double down on that, become a member, click the link below, get all the affirmations, journaling prompts, visualizations I'm going to be posting daily, as well as all the meditations. And you're going to absolutely, there's no possible way that you could fail that way. And again, too, if you wanted to work closer, that's always an option. But remember, the whole point of these is to completely eradicate, completely get rid of any of our limiting beliefs. And so I want to address now next some things that we may be thinking, okay? And so these thoughts are going to be kind of some of the following. And so I have questions that you may be asking yourself of reasons why you think you might not be able to manifest your specific person by Valentine's Day. So the first one is you might say, all right, Kyle, that's awesome, but it just doesn't make logical sense that we will be together. But I would have to ask you, well, why not? Why does it not make logical sense? What is impacting you? What is stopping you? What is keeping you from this amazing, awesome relationship with you and your specific person? And you might say, oh, because of the past, or because of stuff either with you and your specific person, or maybe stuff that happened to you. The normal question is because of the past. And so I want to ask you, so does the past define your future? Okay? Is what you did in the past always going to be your future? Have you never created anything new or done anything new in your reality? And you're going to say, well, okay, Kyle, that makes sense, but it's not logical based on the past. And so I want to dive into what we feel is logical. Okay? What is logic? Like, what makes something logical and what makes something illogical? And we're going to find that the concept of logic is totally personal, okay? You feeling like something is logical or illogical has everything to do with your own state and nothing else, okay? And I'll give you two examples of how we know for a fact that this is your reality. So I want you to think about the question, is it logical to receive $1 million tomorrow? Okay, ask yourself, do you feel as if it is logical for you to receive $1 million tomorrow? And I'm talking about like USD in your native currency. That's a lot of money, right? Is that logical? And we're going to say, well, I'd hope so, but it doesn't really feel that logical, which is okay, right? Being very honest about where you feel you are, that's perfect. But then, so we say that's illogical. So then my question would be, so if it's not logical, then it shouldn't be logical for everyone, right? If logic was this universal idea, then it should be logical for everyone. So, but what about Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos? Is it logical for them to get $1 million tomorrow? And you would say, well, yeah, right? Instantly, we'd be like, yeah, and maybe even more. So then why is it logical for them and not for you? And so then I want to shift this thinking to our specific person. Is it logical that your specific person shows up tomorrow or shows up by Valentine's Day? And you might say yes or no. Maybe like, I would hope so, but I don't really think that that is logical. But then compare that to your end state version of yourself. Compare that to the version of yourself that's married to your specific person. Is that logical? Is it logical that you you who are married to your specific person spends Valentine's Day with them? I would imagine that right then and there you would say yes. That would be very logical for them, okay? And so that's what I want us to remember, that stuff is only logical or illogical based on our current state and our current assumptions. So it doesn't matter what has happened. It's all coming from your state. Because again, if logic was like, because people think of, oh, but something is scientific, it's facts, it can or cannot happen, but that's not true, right? The logic was, we just proved in two different circumstances, with you compared to you and us, you compared to Elon Musk, in that we know for a fact that just by changing the state makes something change in logic. So then why are we not allowing ourselves to feel into that state? It's basically an excuse. And so we'll get over these excuses so you can spend Valentine's Day with your specific person. But it's just something to think about, okay? And so maybe you might say as well, but okay, that all makes sense, Kyle. But it's them. I just can't change their mind. Okay. Maybe that's a thought that you're having as well. But I want you to think about it this way. And every single manifestation is the same, right? Is that something that you believe or you agree with, that every single manifestation is the same? And you're going to say, absolutely, right? I love it, right? Every single manifestation is the same, even though I may not feel that way, which is okay. Every single manifestation is the same. I then want you to think about the current job that you have. Did it feel like you had to convince your boss or your manager to hire you? Did you feel like you had to convince them, or did you show up with the proper quote unquote resume that made you someone who was a perfect fit for the job? And that's what brought you that job. Okay? Which one do you think it was? And most of us are going to say, okay, so then it obviously is this resume or whatever you want to think of as a resume of being capable of that job. We created and we became the person that was perfectly fit for that job. And so that's why we received it. And so the same thing is with your reality with your specific person. If you feel and assume to be the individual that's already with them, your reality is going to basically create it. And so in this case, think about the concept of our current state is maybe us at this entry level job. Okay, we think we're entry and we're trying for the CEO job. And our state is then, in this metaphor, the resume. So if we have an entry level state, we can only get an entry level job. If we are thinking that we are single, we can only ever be conscious of being single in our reality. But how would you then, in this metaphor, change your resume from an entry level job resume into a CEO resume to become a CEO? And you're going to say, oh, well, I would add things. I would change who I am, right? We would change who we are and think of the portions of the resume as like your beliefs and assumptions, right? You would change what's on your resume to fit that. And you would make sure you brought all the correct assumptions that align with that. That's what we want to do with our specific person. So it's not about changing anyone's mind, because truly, in your reality, we're not changing anything. We're actually becoming the version of ourselves that is in our end state. So in this case, throughout this entire journey in these 14 days of love, I always want you to remember that. The whole point of this journey is to actually become the individual that you perceive yourself on Valentine's Day who is with your specific person. That's what we want to focus on. Because normally, when it comes to these state changes, and this is actually what can cause people to kind of get stuck in their previous ways and stay in the same state and manifest for years and years. Like in a previous video, I talked about a success story where I was like, People who have been in no contact or not talked to their specific person for 6 months or years, and someone's like, 6 months, try 4 years. So they have been manifesting for 4 years. And so this is going to help the most for that individual because, and I did include it in my previous video about how manifestation does not take hard work, but we usually think we have to do more of the same. Okay. We usually think when I'm trying to change my state, I need to do more of the same, right? We need to work harder. In the example, I use the concept that if we make $100,000 a year and we want to make 100 million, our first thought is we feel we have to work 1,000 times harder in order to get that. But that's not possible, right? So the state of thinking that led us to where we are is not the state of thinking that's going to take us to where we want to go. So always keep that in mind. And you can think about it this way. Let's say you're working out or you're at the gym and you're under this assumption that going to the gym gets you fit. Are you going to, if you want to get in shape, do you increase the reps? So do you choose the same weight and just increase the reps? So do it over and over and over again. Or do you increase the weight to match your current state? Okay. We increase the rate or the weight to keep the same amount of reps, which I know a lot of us who probably, most of us don't probably work out that much. So it's not understand, like, I don't like, I'm like trying to make this metaphor, but honestly, I don't know too much about it either. But basically the state and the assumptions that brought us to where we are at are not going to get us to where we want to go. And because even in a video that I had, or a coaching call I had today, someone asked that question, but like, so when do we give up? Right? So when do we just give up? When is it something that we should just totally give up on? And I would say absolutely never. If you desire something, the only reason I would change that is if you no longer desire it or no longer want it. That's the only time that I would completely give up or like give up, right? Because we're not giving up, then we're just changing. We don't even want that thing anymore. But that's the only time. And usually whenever someone says that, whenever someone has the answer to the question of when should I give up, they have, and again, it's okay if we feel this way. I don't want to put anyone on blast because I've been in the same state. Anytime I've ever thought that, should I just give up? I was actually in a stubborn state. I refused to change. I, for whatever reason, didn't want to do anything extra or different to get different results. I thought the world should change for me. And so this is... learn from my example. I'm shaking my head. Do not do that. Okay. We are not going to do that. Don't follow the same mistake I made previously. You can learn and rise above it right now. I made the mistake so you don't have to. Okay. And so remember, the feeling or state of giving up is just an assumption that we're stubborn about changing our beliefs and our actions. And so what we want to do instead is we want to be super open to change. We want to be ready to completely become a different individual, move from the state of being single into the state of being loved and abundant. Because two states cannot take up the same place at the same time. So we have to change, we have to alter, we have to let go. As Neville Goddard would say, we have to die to our previous state in order to rise and become exactly who we want to be. And so as always, I have a success story that I want to include in here. I'll put it up on the screen. So this is from my email coaching. And so this is what they stated. I'm not sure if I used this one in the past, but it's something that's really going to showcase how limiting beliefs, circumstances do not matter when you're manifesting. So here's what they said. They said, Kyle, he came back, exclamation point. I really kept with the belief in the past couple days that I knew he would come back to me at some point. I ran into him last night and he told me he misses me, is in love with me, and he can't get me out of his head. So imagine that. Imagine how imagination truly is the creative power in our reality. And you can be with your specific person that you can for Valentine's Day. That's not anything that's impossible. Because even with this individual, I wrote down some limiting beliefs that they had before this point. So at this point, they were long distance. The SP told them they weren't sure about the future. They were in a state of like sadness or depression. They also quoted, I don't know if he's ready. There was a third party. And so, how long do you think, based on all of those limiting beliefs, it would take to go from that to the success that you're seeing on the screen? Okay. How long do you think that it's going to take, that it took to get from that to that? And the answer is exactly 1 month. I know you're thinking I was going to say one day, not one day, 1 month from the moment that we started working together to this point. It was 1 month away. Okay. And that was through email coaching. But that's how quick your reality can change. Again, think of if you're in those same situations or same circumstances with your specific person, remember, you can alter them. If this person did it, then you can too. And it's okay. If we've been manifesting, it's been over a month. That's okay. Okay. It doesn't mean we're good or bad, right? Because everything is a process of learning. Okay. And so right now, no matter what has happened in the past, no matter how long you've been manifesting, no matter if it's been a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we're going to go through a complete metamorphosis in these 14 days, and you are going to be a completely new person with a completely new reality and a completely new life, living the most perfect and abundant relationship with your specific person. And this all starts today, right here, right now, with me and you taking you exactly where you want to go. A quick reminder as well. So for all the members, so if you wanted to double down, comment again down below. You will be with, or say, I will be with my specific person for Valentine's Day. That is the first intention of the day. And remember to give a like on this video if you really know for a fact you're going to do it. And remember to subscribe because you don't want to miss any of these days leading up. Also, a quick reminder for all of my members, each and every day I wanted to do daily affirmations, journaling prompts, and visualizations taking you to your manifestation. Okay, so each and every day, we're going to have all those, and I'm going to include a self-guided meditation. And so if you wanted to become a member and really double down into that, click the first link in my tab. Again, you don't have to because all of these videos, the 14 Days of Love, are going to be available to you all the time. Rewatch them and look through them as much as you want. They're always going to be here. But if you did want that extra awesome, amazing push, then definitely do that. As well as Saturday. So for all my members, I'm going to be meeting up at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. So Saturday, February 3rd, I was trying to look at my calendar to see. We're going to be meeting. I'm going to be answering questions. And the whole purpose of this is getting everyone to their specific person for Valentine's Day. And I actually have a manifestation that I've been doing of my own where I want to manifest 10,000 success stories in my members. So if you want to be a part of those, just hop in. And so I'm so excited to begin this journey with you and talk with you every single step of the way to Valentine's Day to make sure that you become and have the perfect relationship with your specific person. Again, thanks so much for stopping by today. If you did have any questions, leave them down below. If you did want to send me a personal message, head over to my website at kyleaugustcoaching.com. That's where you can reach me personally. If you did have any questions or worries or wanted to work more closely together leading up to Valentine's Day. But thanks again so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in day 2 tomorrow.